This is Stephen Nelson with OEFC West. I'm the president at OEFC West, and this is our very first podcast. We're going to be doing this some more in the future, but this very first one, we're talking with Danny Gibson, our DOC. We wanted to give you all, our members, an update on the upcoming tryouts and registration and our coaching slate. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Danny.
Perfect. Thanks, Stephen. Really glad to be with you here tonight on our first go around at this podcast. Myself and Stephen have been exploring many different avenues to try and increase our communication. So I just want to say hello and thank you to all our membership, our players, our families. We certainly miss you guys. And seeing you out at the fields, but hopefully this kind of fills a little bit of the void in that we can communicate some of the information that has been shared, but we can look to make sure that we have it on different platforms and maybe an easier way for you guys to get some of the information about the club and what we're doing moving forward.
That's awesome, Danny. Well, would you like to comment at all about kind of what's going on with the current season before we get into tryouts?
Absolutely. We've released a lot of information today regarding tryouts and the coaching slate and everything geared towards next season. But of course, we're kind of in a state of a little bit of limbo right now with the current season. But we want to make sure we're doing all we can to help with our teams and our families during this time. So hopefully you've enjoyed the various interactions with coaches and the teams. We certainly have, and it's been a great opportunity to connect with a lot of our players and teams and members on different platforms, and we've managed to create the YouTube channel. Hopefully you guys have been checking that out and getting some value and maybe some laughs at some of the coaches attempting to do some things. And then, of course, the podcast that we are kicking off tonight, I think it's going to be a cool platform for sharing of information. We're going to do a get-to-know series with the coaches. So, again, trying to get to know the staff a little bit better and find out their background and their thoughts on many different aspects of the game. And then we feel it'll be a great platform for doing some town hall type things. And Stephen's going to speak a little bit to that. Hopefully we'll have one here shortly just to try and help everybody as we move towards tryouts. But for the time being, we have a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel in terms of getting back out and restarting. We take all of our guidelines based on Oklahoma Soccer Association with their communications with U.S. Youth Soccer and the restart date that has been circled as May 15th. So we're certainly very hopeful and we're going to plan accordingly to get the ball back out and rolling. Of course, nobody has a crystal ball. Many things can happen between now and then, but we're certainly starting to get our coaches and teams geared back up so that hopefully when the time comes, we're ready to go and resume the season. So we're hoping it's kind of business as usual. I know that the latter part of the season will be slightly condensed and will run into June, but we're looking to get lots of training sessions in, schedule lots of games even outside of the league play just to make sure that we feel we're getting a lot of value out of it, because we certainly appreciate all the support and patience from our members, and we want to make sure that we pay it back to them with different things that we're going to look to do once we can get back out and get everything going again. So from our perspective, if there's any updates or anything like that, we'll certainly share. But that's the goal, and hopefully we can get back out there here shortly.
No, that sounds really awesome. I know my kids are a little tired of practicing in the backyard, and although they really enjoyed interacting with their teammates and coaches on Zoom, really looking forward to getting back out onto the fields, practice field and the game field. So hopefully we'll have good news shortly. But in the meantime, we have to continue to plan, and part of that plan is preparing for tryouts in the next season. And so at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and show our little tryout graphic and give Danny an opportunity to speak to some of the details.
Thanks again, Stephen. Yeah, we kind of had an initial plan for tryouts, and now we've gone to plan B with everything, and we wanted to make sure that we communicated at the right time. So we certainly apologise for any delay, but we feel it's now a great time to share what our plans are for tryouts looking towards the 2021 season coming up. So we're looking at June 4th and 5th will be our tryout camp. An important thing to mention about our camp is it's completely free of charge. I think that there's a lot of value in for the players attending camp. It certainly gives the coaches an opportunity to ensure that we are getting every opportunity to see that player perform at their best and give a real good analysis and evaluation. So we certainly encourage you to get signed up. I believe we'll be sharing some links towards the registration at the end of this video, but if not, it's just a case of visiting our website, okcsoccer.com, and then getting onto the registration link. And again, there should be some of the information that you're hearing here tonight. We will hold our tryouts or our team placement day on Saturday, June 6th. Again, we'll be posting some updated times in terms of our age groups and coaches. But for now, the plan is tryout and placement will be on Saturday. And again, it's a case of coming in and getting a good warm-up and maybe a little technical exercise. And then we'll just look to play some games, give everybody every opportunity to to shine and to show what they're made of, and then from there we'll place you into teams. Again, one of the things in terms of communication going into tryouts, we will try and share some information about the process of tryouts. I know sometimes it can be very daunting, turning up and being one of hundreds and hundreds of kids, and the same thing for the parents. So we want to try and make that as easy as possible. So we're looking at some creative ways where we can share from people that have been there and done it, and that are part of planning and involving you guys in that, so that when it comes to the day, it's as stress-free as possible.
Yep.
We certainly encourage you guys to share. We've made a flyer and posted on social media and that type of thing, and it's amazing how far that can reach. But word of mouth is really our main selling point. If you've enjoyed the experience and if you are bought in and believe in the values that we do and the culture we're trying to create, then number one, please get registered and sign up, and then number two, invite some people in, and please share with anyone you feel might be interested in getting involved in our club.
Absolutely. And as Danny said, it's free. It's just your time and maybe a little bit of sweat for your child. But maybe a little bit of sweat on your part as well, depending on how hot the weather is. But with that being said, I think it's fair to I think maybe not fair to Danny, but make the commitment that we'll have another future episode of the podcast before tryouts, where we kind of go through in more detail kind of what to expect and what the process is, and maybe interview a coach or maybe another player, if we can manage that, on what that looks like. So you and your player, if it's your first time, you can kind of know what to expect. So, but with that being said, tryouts wouldn't be tryouts without coaches. And so at this time, do you want to talk through the coaching slate?
Absolutely. And we're certainly very excited and proud of the group that we've been able to assemble. We feel very, very good about their level of buy-in, the level of knowledge and expertise in the game. And we certainly think that this group of coaches is the best possible to move the club forward. So I'm delighted with it. From the conversations I've had with the staff, they're all excited and raring to go. So it's certainly an exciting time to share that with the club. From my standpoint, I certainly understand. I've been in the situation many times where you're possibly coming off of a team or as a player, you facing a new season with a different coach. It can be a little unfamiliar, and your comfort level you might be pushed out of it a little bit. But we want to try and make that as kind of pain-free as possible. So we're working very closely with all the staff to, again, it would be lovely to be able to do it face-to-face, but with the current conditions, we'll look to set up some Zoom calls with teams, their current coach, and then look to introduce their new coach or coaches in some of the situations. So hopefully that eases the transition a little bit. It gets your new coach in front of you, and we can make introductions, and then we can answer any questions or any comments that you might have. But we, as a club, all this season and moving forward, have been really focused on, can we get a consistent message from the day they walk into the club to the day that they graduate and go off to college and bigger and better things? Can there be a level of consistency in terms of the message and the philosophy of the club, the things that we're doing with them in terms of training sessions and how we set up for games, in terms of our core values and our on and off the field education. We're really looking to ensure that every coach is saying the same thing. So it might be a different voice, a strange accent like mine, or some of our Brazilian coaches, but the message should very much be the same. And it's just a fantastic opportunity to get to work with a different coach that comes from a different background and can bring something slightly different to your environment and to your development. So certainly from that standpoint, we think we've got all the coaches in the right spots for their strengths, as well as bringing out the best in the team. So please make sure you go check that out. Be on the lookout for any Zoom meeting sent out through your group me or your team snap or email, and let us know if there's anything we can do to help ease that transition. But we certainly are beyond excited with the staff, and I know that they're all ready to go and get back out there with the players and the teams.
Absolutely. And really quick, I'm going to go ahead and show the coaches slate while we still talk. And I just want to echo one of the things that Danny brought up and reiterate that it's very much part of the club's vision and the vision that we brought Danny in to help realize and push forward, and it's very much focused on the development of the players. And part of that is getting different experiences with different coaches, and it's by no means trying to take away from the relationships that our players might have formed with a particular coach. Absolutely at this point in time, all the coaches are coming back, and so they will still be a part of the club even if a particular coach has moved on to a different team. That doesn't mean that your player won't be able to interact with that coach and still have a relationship. So it's very much a family-focused, club, and very much want to continue that going forward. Any new faces you want to highlight, Danny, on the list?
Yeah, absolutely. Very excited to be bringing in a couple of new faces on the competitive side. We have Jake Cottage joining our staff, coming across from OEFC Central. He's also the Randall University women's head coach, so lots of collegiate experience, as well as lots of time working with the academy and on the competitive side. So Jake kind of ticks all the boxes in terms of what we are looking for in a young, hungry coach, and we feel he's going to have a real positive impact on the group that he's coming in to work with. So very excited to welcome Jake. We also have George Connolly coming in to the club as well. George is currently the USAO men's and women's soccer program goalkeeper coach and assistant coach. We've identified George as a guy that just getting into the club world, but that brings with them a lot of experience and knowledge, and again, kind of that same mold of coach that we're really looking for, which is someone that's willing to roll the sleeves up and get to work and hopefully leave the program better than it was. So we're excited to welcome George in as well, and we certainly see this as a collaboration. Just to speak to what Stephen was talking about, so it's not a goodbye to any coaches. It's we'll see you around, because we'll certainly be working on many things going forward, many programs. Again, where we work together as coaches, combine age groups, do position-specific stuff, all with the same goal in mind to create a better environment and culture for the players. So, yeah, we're really excited, and I think it's going to be a great season, and we're just raring to go.
Awesome. Sounds great, Danny. And again, tryouts coming June 4th, 5th, and 6th. 6th being the tryout, the actual tryout camp and team placement. We've got our coaches slate, and I guess in closing, we promised you some links. Got the links to the website, short link to tryout information. That Danny and I can talk for a long time, but sometimes it's a little bit easier to read. Also got a direct link to the tryout registration page, and then also a direct link to the 2021 coaches slate. Obviously, there's a lot of things that can happen, and things could still change, but we're very positive about kind of the direction we're going and the plans that we're making. But obviously, if anything changes, we will be communicating that as quickly as possible. Any final words, Danny?
No, I've probably said too much already in terms of the length of time that I'm taking. People will be sick of listening to me, but I just we have a real firm belief in what we're doing. With planning and putting in the hours and work comes a level of confidence, and I certainly feel that for what I'm doing, and also can see that reflected in the staff and the board, and the trickle down effect is just special in terms of how our coaches are able to affect our players. So we're really looking forward to the next season. We have a big belief in the things that we're doing. We hope you guys also see the same thing and buy in, and are excited to have your kids and your players a part of our club, because we genuinely feel we're on the cusp of something special in terms of giving back to this community and providing the club kind of that this community deserves and has been looking for. So we're thankful to have you on board. We appreciate everything you guys are doing and the support you're providing. We hope everybody stays safe and well. And we just can't wait to get out there and see you again. But please feel free, reach out with anything. Again, we want to open that door to communication and transparency. So with that, I wish you guys all have a great night, have a great week, and hopefully we see you again soon.
Yes, indeed. And I forgot to mention one last thing, and that's if you have any questions regarding any of this or have any suggestions for, future podcasts, be sure and reach out to us via email at questions@oefcwest.org. I'll be sure and have that on the closing slide for the next time. But again, that's questions@oefcwest.org. And thanks again. Have a good evening. Good talking to you, Danny.
Thank you. Thanks, Stephen.